Where's 11 Alive at? I'm at liberty. I'm gonna move your mic just a little bit so I can read from my notes. All right, ready? All right. Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Gibbons, and I'm the ATF Special Agent in charge of the Atlanta Field Division. To my right is HSI Special Agent in charge, Steve Shrank, and to my left is ATF ASAC, Bo Kalaka. And also here with us, sitting down, is our ATF Firearms Trafficking Supervisor, Darren Crowder. So today I would like to talk about firearms trafficking to Mexico specifically. ATF's primary mission is to reduce the violent crime and combat firearms trafficking by cartels and terrorist organizations. While our mission is clear and concise, it is also immense and dangerous. ATF partners with the U.S. Attorney's Office, Homeland Security Investigations, CBP, and our state and local law enforcement agencies to prevent Mexican cartels and terrorist organizations from Mexico acquiring illegal firearms whose criminal activities put American lives in danger. Cartels rely on specific firearms to facilitate, expand, and protect their criminal enterprise. Cartels have infiltrated the United States and through the southern border are operating in all major states and cities. These cartels have established and expanded their networks to carry out their illicit activities to include fentanyl trafficking and human smuggling as well. These cartels and terrorist organizations are often responsible for the most heinous, violent crimes affecting communities and neighborhoods in the United States. Under President Trump and Attorney General Bondi's leadership, ATF has prevented nearly 9,700 firearms from falling into the hands of dangerous criminals or terrorists. In fiscal year to date, ATF has initiated over almost 16,000 violent crime cases and seized over 18,000 firearms, 13,000 firearms parts and accessories, and over 1 million rounds of ammunition and 13,000 assorted explosives. The ATF Atlanta Field Division, along with HSI, have targeted these trafficking organizations and cartels. As you see here to my left and to my right are a sample of the firearms which have been seized through these investigations here in Atlanta. Increasingly, the weapons of choice of these cartels seek to acquire are such as the Ohio Ordnance M2 50 caliber, also known as the Modus, which is right in front of me. The FN M240 7.6 caliber, which are to my right. The FN M249 5.6 caliber, which are to my left. And assorted variants of AK-47s and 74s and handguns, which you see laying on the table. These represent a sample of an ongoing investigation that we have going on right now, currently. So I will not be able to get into specifics of the investigation as there's more to come on that at a later date. But currently in this investigation, we've seized over 200 firearms, have been interdicted or seized by ATF, HSI, and our state and local partners across the nation. What you see before you and what we seized in this investigation represents over $250,000 worth of firearms that this organization are willing to spend to support their illicit activities. Also seized during these investigations are large quantities of methamphetamine, which we seized 24 kilos, as well as 4 kilograms of fentanyl and numerous amounts of cash. To date, this investigation has led to the indictment and arrest of 14 individuals with more planned indictments and arrests planned in the future. Next, HSI Stephen Shrank will speak.
Thanks, Ben. Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Shrank. I'm the Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations for the states of Georgia and Alabama. And here with our partners today at the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Agency, Homeland Security Investigations is doubling down on our commitment to combat violent cross-border crime and crime conducted by cartels and designated terrorist organizations that are wreaking havoc on the communities in which they live and operate, and the poisons that they are pushing into the United States. As Zach Gibbons explained, we have been working together to combat this significant organization that has been pushing narcotics into the United States, profiting from the sale of narcotics and the health of our people, and utilizing the proceeds of their narcotics smuggling in order to obtain weapons that they surely have every intent in utilizing to advance violence south of the border in Mexico. The U.S. government will not tolerate the illegal export of firearms. These are not firearms that are possessed lawfully by United States citizens that are protected by our rights. These are firearms that are being sought by cartels in order to advance their violence and power across the border and advance their criminal enterprises. These are simply a sample of the firearms that we have identified and seized in the course of this investigation, on top of the fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, and cash that ultimately these organizations are moving through illicit channels and have been attempting to push across the southwest border. We've made tremendous strides securing the southwest border. The cartels are feeling the pinch of the interagency operations that are impacting their day-to-day. And we're going out and making a difference. For an example of the individuals that are trying to perpetrate this, in this one investigation alone that we are highlighting some examples of, we have arrested 9 illegal aliens that had fraudulently obtained documents in the United States that they were attempting or utilizing to secure firearms and ultimately try to push them down to the southwest border and into Mexico. These are not individuals coming into the United States attempting to move their families here and peacefully live. These are criminals that are trying to take advantage of the United States and secure weapons that they will utilize in order to advance violence south of the border or wherever their criminal activity subsides. I am thankful for the interagency partnerships that we have, and HSI and the Department of Homeland Security work incredibly closely with our partners in ATF in order to combat this violent crime and make our communities safer. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go into our question and answer section. Please raise your hand if you have a question. All right, right here.
Hey, Richard Elliott, Channel 2. Are you able, you said you've arrested 9 illegals coming into the country, but 14 total have arrested. We're also talking about some U.S. citizens who are working in concert with these people to get these weapons into those hands.
That's correct. And they were not arrested trying to come into the country. They were already here illegally in our country, and they were out trying to procure these very firearms that you see today and others and get them into the hands of cartel members and their associates in order to do so. And they were arrested, many of which are facing criminal charges and will be deported back to where they came from.
Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News. If you could just talk about some of the ways in which you all are recovering these weapons, locating them before they make it across the border.
You want to take?
Yes. So there's a couple ways that we are able to locate these weapons, and first and foremost, I'd like to say is the outstanding work of our agents, our intelligence research specialists, and our industry operations investigators, all working together along with HSI. And first, it's purely up from an investigative standpoint. Our investigators are able to work together, identify the individuals who are trafficking these firearms, and a lot of times we're able to interdict them before they leave the state of Georgia. Sometimes we rely on our state and local partners who perform interdictions in other states on the expressways and are able to provide us information that ties back to our investigation. And then, of course, at the border as well, where these firearms are interdicted.
Some of these are military weapons. You may not be able to answer this, and I understand. I mean, are these coming from American military posts, bases, or these are somehow procured other ways and then involved in trafficking? Do you understand what
I understand what you're saying. So these weapons are commercially made available that anybody can purchase these weapons here. So these aren't military weapons. They are still at our federal firearms licensees, and anybody can purchase them if they are legal.
And just to clarify, all these weapons here, are they part of the same investigation taken from the same cartel organization?
Yes, that's correct, and that's why I brought out the point that it's over $250,000 worth of firearms that were seized from this particular organization.
Okay, you over there?
He asked my question.
Okay.
About the weapons, thank you.
Go ahead.
A lot of people, when they think about illegal immigrants in this country, or they think about people coming over, they think about fentanyl, meth coming across the borders, it might surprise them to understand that there is also a flow from the U.S. into Mexico of illegal arms like this. Can you talk about that and kind of explain to folks that this could be a two-way street sometimes?
Well, it is a two-way street. We can both answer this question, but it is a two-way street. From our aspect, obviously, there are those who will utilize the laws and freedoms here in the U.S. to support illegal activities in other countries, to include Mexico in this particular instance. And so, utilizing those same resources and individuals, yes, while drugs may be coming into this country, but to support, like Shrank said, to support their ongoing criminality there and control, they need firearms. They need powerful weapons. These are, outside of the hand pistols, most of these rifles are readily converted over to fully automatic, and it helps them when they go to war against other cartels and/or law enforcement in Mexico, and obviously presents a danger to the citizens in those communities.
Yeah, I think we have all seen the tremendous impact that weapons and violence have played south of our borders in Mexico, that are driven by cartels, that are driven by greed, and are expressed in violence. And while we do have individuals coming into the United States, they are seeking to take advantage of the rights and freedoms that we enjoy. And we are a nation that supports our Second Amendment and makes firearms available to lawful citizens that use them for lawful purposes. And they are seeking to come here, take advantage of our freedoms, and obtain tools that then subsequently are used for violent purposes to enact their power south of the border and put together the organizations that create and peddle the poisons that work their way into our communities and have such devastating impacts on the health of our citizens.
Can you provide any information as far as where these were recovered here in the metro area, in Georgia, just for our purposes?
So I think Ben would probably back me up. These weapons that you see today are the result of multiple enforcement actions. This is an ongoing investigation. We can't get into a whole lot of specific detail about the individual seizures, but you see a small fraction of the results of firearms that have been identified, and these have come through the results from multiple enforcement actions, both here in the Atlanta region and elsewhere, as we interdict them before they get across the borders and into the hands of violent cartel members.
All right, any more questions? No more? Okay, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming.
Excellent job.
Yeah.
You want to say anything? No.
We'll get them walking out.
You want us to carry the
You wanna
weapons
do
all the
it?
way? Yeah.